Can I tell you, first of all, what I dislike about Christianity? And it's encapsulated by a picture that I can remember from my Sunday school years. It was a picture of Jesus in a sort of white nightshirt with a blonde beard and very, very obviously white, and surrounded him with small children in 50s clothes, and obviously English, except for one token piccaninny sticked in the middle of it. And a few birds, and I think he might have been holding a lamb. And really it said everything that I disliked, because it was wet. It was the Jesus that was sentimental, that was patronizing, that very sort of sadly in English sort of way told you that you really hadn't done quite as well as you should have done. And I recognised that kind of voice and manner again when I went to grammar school, and I realised that was the way head teachers talked to you as well. More in sorrow than in anger. You weren't quite good enough. And it took me years to escape from that and realise that was absolutely nothing to do with the real historical Jesus, and everything to do with the English. And that actually Jesus, far from being someone to be rejected, was a very exciting person, a most unexpected person, and a person who one really wouldn't expect to have heard about, because he lived 2,000 years ago in an extremely small and unimportant country in a much larger Roman Empire, in a period where prophets were 2 a penny, and most of them were knocked out very tidily by the Romans as soon as they became a nuisance. And he appeared to have spoken only for about 3 years, and to have only walked for the most about one very small part of Israel. And during those 3 years, until he went to Jerusalem, he'd never even visited the bigger towns in that small area. And what we know about him mostly wasn't written down till long after he was dead, and much got muddled up with other people. And yet, in a curious sort of way, that makes him more significant than less. Because if what he had to say rebounded across all the centuries from such an obscure part of the world, then it must be more important than I thought. And when I took away all the things that I didn't understand, and all the things that probably other people said, and the way that Christianity seemed to have got muddled up with Mithraism and all sorts of other sects, I realised that his central message, that we should love one another, was absolutely extraordinary. And what made it even more extraordinary, and more important, and more worth doing, was that as far as I could see, it was an untried experiment. Over 2,000 years, we barely began, even to start, to scratch the surface of what he was talking about. And that seemed to me somewhere where it was worth beginning.